All right, we got back-to-back remakes here. Now with Child's Play 2019. Okay, so of course, I've been taking you through all these films and whatnot. We went through all the Child's Play films, and of course, we're currently watching a TV show. And I find this one particularly interesting because, well, first off, this is a remake, of course, of the original film, which MGM has the rights to. All the other sequels and all that stuff, that's owned by Universal. So they could only really technically remake the first film. And, so anything else, so even if they tried to do a sequel, anything else really resembling the sequels, they couldn't technically do. And for the most part, this film technically was a success, probably just enough so. So it's been 3 years now. We don't know if they'll ever really wind up doing this. And of course, there was some controversy with it because Don Mancini was still doing his own timeline, continuing the continuity of the original stuff. And so with this coming out, it was a bit iffy with them. They're just like, yeah, why you doing this? I'm doing my thing. Why you got to do this? And it's the whole thing. So, and when it comes to a property like this, especially with the concept, the voice actor, Brad Dourif, and you would think a remake like this would be probably the least likely to succeed, honestly. It definitely seemed like you would have the most going against it trying to do something like that, especially if you're dealing with more of an AI situation with this film as opposed to a possession sort of deal. And for me, initially seeing this, I went in optimistic, but I wasn't sure. And walking away from it, for me, it's like I feel like this remake was a lot better than it had any right to be. I honestly think it's one of the better horror remakes overall, like surprisingly so. And so, with that said, just finishing it, how do you feel overall with your first impressions?
Well, what did I say when you were just on the splash screen and you're gonna push play? And his face was there.
You're like, what, basically, like, what the hell is that?
What the fuck is this monstrosity?
Yeah, yeah. I
It
mean,
is quite an well, I mean, not that Chucky was like the best looking doll, but comparing the two, my goodness.
yeah.
Is better looking than his Seed of Chucky. Um, ew. I don't know, the look of it was really weird. Um,
Yeah,
Props to Mark Hamill, and because he's a good actor and he's done a lot of voice work, and we all know his Joker stuff.
yeah, ever
So
since his Luke
yeah,
Skywalker days, that's pretty much been his main thing. And obviously, yeah, being the Joker for the animated series and whatever little movies they may have done with that, and then the Arkham games and such. And so, yeah,
still,
of course, I mean, yeah, him being that voice, you think, like, okay, well, a suitable replacement again. If you had to go with someone, I'd be like, okay, well, that makes sense. And yeah, and for the most part, it works. And that is the thing too. When we first saw the trailers, first saw promotional images. You look at the dog. Pretty much all the fans were just like, "What the fuck is this? What is that?" It's like because it really does. It looks very odd, and I don't know how much of it was like on purpose, as far as maybe they wanted to go for like sort of like this ugly duckling type of thing where it's meant to be kind of awkward looking and strange. And as it goes on, you get honestly a little bit more used to it because especially you notice a lot of the scenes and the way that they mess around. It's just like, oh, try to make this face, and he's like all awkward and shit, and he's like, I think it's part of it was probably done on purpose. And like I said, as you go along, you kind of get used to it, and it kind of, like I said, you just gotta go along with it, and for what they're doing here again with this more like rogue AI, which they set off with this, you know, basically abused factory worker. This,
that
he
happens
just
to be
lose.
in charge of programming the
That's like in
chips.
Vietnam, and it's just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna, he's getting, chewed out by his boss or whatever. You get the subtitles, and he's just like, okay, fine, screw this. I'm gonna start, okay, take this program off, turn that off, blah blah blah, and of course now he's capable of killing and all that shit. So, of course, and then he, winds up offing himself after that, and then you got the movie starting off, and so, and with this idea, of course, it's a good enough, I feel like a good enough departure from what Child's Play is, but at the same time keeps the spirit of what it is. And it's a nice added layer, honestly, as far as the relationship with Chucky and Andy. It actually being, at first, like an actual kind of like friendship type of thing. It's this toy, it's meant to imprint on him and, and just hang out with him. Yeah, be his friend to the end, his buddy, and all that stuff. And it kind of works because at first you're just like you're going along with it, and once certain things start to happen, you actually do feel a little bit bad for Chucky because all it is it's like it's literally he really is just trying to be cool with Andy. But of course, with his programming being all on the fritz and stuff, and he's learning this and that stuff that they're watching, like Texas Chainsaw 2, certain motions, certain things they do, their behavior, it just kind of goes off of that. And of course, it just goes way off the rails.
This is for Tupac.
That is actually pretty clever the way that I'll give them that. So
that was funny.
So as far as like that factor, how did you feel about that compared to what we know Child's Play to be?
Well, I don't really know. It wasn't a horrible movie by any stretch. It was just really weird because it wasn't Chucky and it wasn't Brad doing the voice. So, like, yeah, I don't know. I liked Mark Hamill singing the credits at the song.
I mean, if there's one thing, obviously, because for some reason it's like,
and
even at
the
the end,
the bears at the end, the 2.0 models, that was really creepy.
Yeah. Again, like, because even at the end of like Batman Arkham City, he's in character as the Joker, singing this song once he was killed off by the end of that game and stuff like that, and he's just, that's just yeah, you got to use them while you got them, I guess. So, but again, it works. It works with the factor that
he did it. He like. Not that he's like billed as a singer, we all know that, but
it plays into
it
plays into those characters creepy. Though, for like this, for the Joker, knowing that type of character, and for this, what it's meant to be, again, just like this like a little jolly song, for you and your little kid friend and everything. Oh,
well, no, but I mean, like after the Happy Fun song, when he takes it down.
Yeah, like if you let the credits roll a little bit towards the end, they play like a more kind of like sinister version of that. It's a little bit more creepier.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and again, that works. About. Yeah, and
not the happy-go-lucky one. I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah,
like the Silver Shamrock.
So this film is kind of almost like the transformation to more of like what Chucky to be. It's more of like a build up to that as opposed to being like out the gate. This is a motivation for him. Like I said, it's kind of building towards that. And again, for what this is and for what it tries to do differently, but at the same time, again, tries to be Child's Play, it works. Because even a lot of the side characters, like Andy's mom, played by Aubrey Plaza, which very good in this film. Her. Yeah, because I mean, usually you see her as like that deadpan, just kind of like sarcastic type of character most of the time. And I remember seeing her in this and initially just thinking like, because I don't see her in a role like this a lot, where she's like, a younger single mom, just being more just played straight, just normal, whatever, and just, I mean, she gives off a really great vibe, and you see a really nice relationship between her and Andy, and you actually really do like that and appreciate. She's actually very good. Brian Tyree Henry as a supporting character who was in Godzilla vs. Kong and on the show Atlanta, and I think more recently like in Eternals and stuff. Yeah, he's a solid actor. Again, also a very likable character too, as this neighbor cop and everything. And so as the film is going along, once the murders start to happen, he's there investigating them and stuff. And so you have a really like good solid cast of characters as far as that goes. The friends, once they start coming and hanging out with Andy, they just basically just show up like in Halloween one day. It's like, oh hey, you got a buddy doll, he's doing this shit. It's like, oh, let's hang out, let's do this stuff. But you go with it, and it's fun for what it is. Like again, all the supporting characters, are actually very good, and you go along with them. And there's not really anyone that really drags the film down in any way. and even the kills themselves. Like, how did you feel about those? I felt like they actually did pretty well, like with the one like asshole boyfriend that Andy's mom is seeing, who you see
Who's
happens
a
to be
two-timing
yeah, who happens to be cheating on like
well
his wife, and he's got kids and
asshole.
everything.
I can't believe that. I'm like, I see him pulling up. I'm like, okay, maybe is that like a nanny that's looking after the kids because single
Yeah.
dad, and then the visor, and then puts the ring on. I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch. And
Yeah, see, that's the thing is like the first like couple of kills in this film, like most of the characters that usually get it in this film are kind of assholes to begin with, so they almost kind of deserve it in a way, except for like the one mom character later on the of the cop. You feel
yeah,
bad for her when she gets it,
yeah,
but
she didn't do nothing wrong.
no, no, but
But
yeah,
that happens a lot in horror movies. Some people like that don't.
yeah, hmm
But uh, the concept of the whole AI thing and doing that, I guess is kind of believable with all the stuff that we have
well, yeah,
nowadays, and
that's
then
what.
harkening
Yeah,
back
it's
to
obviously playing
Terminator.
off of
So
that. Of course, if you're gonna do a remake and if you don't want to do it exactly like that, if you're trying to do something different, obviously you think the AI is the thing. And at first, again, you hear about the remake, you're just like, I don't know about that because Chucky is Chucky. That's the personality. That's Charles Lee Ray. That's his spirit. This and that. Blah blah blah. But again, for how they execute everything overall and as it goes along, you actually realize it's actually not done badly at all. Like you kind of, again, you just get more used to it as it goes along. And for what they did, it really does work because that extra element, knowing that Chucky by himself is kind of innocent at first, like he just kind of again falls into that personality, and that's just kind of what he grows into. And so by
I
the end,
gotta
that's when you start
specify
to
by
see more
that.
of those you start to see more of those glimpses of what that full-fledged Chucky of this version would be. And so it would be curious to see like a follow-up to this, which by the time it was done, I was like, I'd be curious to see what the follow-up would be, to see where they could go with this. But again, knowing that they're even if it was super successful, it would be kind of tricky ground for them to follow up with this again because the legal rights on how that works. But I would be curious to see where they go, following the events of this one. Though.
It dawned on me that game you were playing not horribly long ago, was it that Chucky? Or could they
Oh,
kind of,
that one. Oh, yeah,
yeah,
that
that
was.
one.
No,
What,
I mean
what?
that there's
Because
that
I'm
was a
like,
very
well, I
independent
guess
game made by someone that
could
was very
be.
much a rip off of that. I mean, it was basically it pretty much was. It just couldn't do it in name. But yeah, that's a neither here nor there. It didn't
I
last very
know,
long, but that was what that was. So yeah.
but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, that concept was pretty good because obviously things can happen. Like I said, a la Terminator,
Yeah, and just playing with how like all
and
these like different apps are
yeah,
interconnected and how it can control these things. And you see
all the
with the
things.
one
That's
guy,
creepy.
especially like the one creepy guy that's in the
Yeah,
basement.
the janitor guy,
Yeah,
maintenance man.
yeah, exactly. How you see, obviously he has hitting cameras inside people's homes and stuff. He's watching Andy's mom like get in the shower and shit. You're just like, damn, dude. And the funny thing is like how identical that guy looks to Jack Black. I mean, if you didn't know any better, some people would say, be like, I didn't know Jack Black was in this because he really does. He looks just like him. If you didn't know better, you would probably think.
You know what it made me think of though
Hmm.
was from Toy Story when
Yeah,
that collector guy.
yeah. The guy played voiced by Wayne Knight from Seinfeld. He was Newman, like that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
guy. Yeah,
yeah,
he.
because that's what it made me think of, and
It
I'm
kind of
like,
is. Yeah, I mean.
and the boy's name was Andy, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean,
But
yeah, that's been a joke for sure. Like, be like, oh yeah, well, what if like Child's Play and Toy Story combines? Like, oh, what would that be like? Chucky trying to fuck up Woody and Buzz. And like that would be a whole movie in and of itself
Chucky's
for
got a
sure.
Woody. That would be interesting.
hmm
I mean, because I guess Buzz Lightyear would be the more likely one to kind of go crazy, at least based on that, because he's like electronic, and then like Chucky could kind of interface with him.
They kind of did that in Toy Story 3,
So
where he had like the voice, was he got all jacked up and stuff. He was speaking like Spanish or whatever. He's like he wasn't like the old Buzz and stuff. So
yeah,
really
that
kind
was
of like,
funny.
yeah,
But yeah, it was weird because it wasn't the Child's Play that we all know, but
that's
it
just something
wasn't
you just
like
got to deal with when it comes to
horrible.
these things.
Cute little kid, like the mom. Well, I mean,
Yeah, like I
boyfriend
said,
was
the
a
acting
dick.
overall is solid. Like even
Neighbor,
even as the boyfriend, like who's like the dick character. Again, you're just meant to hate those characters, but at the same
yeah.
time, it's also about playing them well. It's not just like again how I would say Trent from like Friday the 13th remake. People like hate that guy. They absolutely hate him,
That was
but he
the
did
rich
a
kid with the house, right?
yeah, but he did a
Yeah, okay.
good job at playing that
Well,
asshole. But
yeah.
and so this is
There's
kind
a
of the
whole
same.
laundry list of characters we can start naming off of people that played them well.
Yeah.
Joffrey, Cersei, and Professor Umbridge, to name a few.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we can go all night with that. That's a whole nother video.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, it just again, just going into it, you expect the worst. You would think that this would be the least likely to succeed, but somehow it manages to actually work for me. Honestly, yeah, like I know how much you love that film, Seed of Chucky. It's definitely better than that.
Yeah.
It's really
I'd
not.
rewatch this than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if you're not like hardcore, if it's not like, oh yeah, it's blasphemy because they remade this, which again I understand because Don Mancini was still doing his thing, and usually the remakes come after the fact. We've only seen like the one other kind of unique case where Halloween kind of went back to the old timeline after the Rob Zombie remakes, but this is one where the remake was subsequent with the actual original timeline still going on. And so, I know Don Mancini didn't really want it to happen, but the fact is it did. And, eventually, it was going to happen regardless, I'm sure. But yeah, for what it is though, like it's not bad. It actually does enough justice and does enough of its own thing to warrant existing. Um, I think it's better than perhaps like the Elm Street remake that we just watched. It's better than that, I would
Yeah.
say. Um, yeah, I mean, I
I
think
mean,
it.
no knock against either of the two main like characters or voices rather. So
Like I said, it is what it is. It's there, and for what it is, again, I don't think it's that bad. To where if they did a sequel, I'd be like, okay, well, I'd be curious to see where you go with that. And
and
obviously, we
then
still got
if
the.
it's dumpster fire, then it's like, well, yeah,
Yeah, I
obviously.
mean, obviously, like I mean,
So
because like again, yeah, when you do things like Seed of Chucky, it's just like, well, that's as bad as it gets, and yeah, again, you expect it to be as that bad, but it's really not.
Jason Goes to Hell.
You know,
But like I said, that's another video for another day. We can go a
yeah.
whole list of weird shit.
Yeah,
But
so overall, I mean, I would
yeah.
give it like a solid 3.5. It's really not bad at all. Like, if you're not like so inclined, just it only has to be like the original continuity. And again, I get it, and I still appreciate that. And I'm glad to see that that's still going on. I hope season 2 overall winds up great. But like I said, for what it is, it's not bad, honestly. So
Yeah,
even watching it this again, it's been 3 years since it came out. I saw it in theaters when it did, and it's like I liked it then. I still like it now. It's like,
I
no, it's
remember
not
hearing
bad.
about it. I just don't remember anything afterwards.
Mhm.
But yeah, I kind of prefer Brad Dourif.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
you can't
got
argue that, but
he's got away with it, and well, Chucky, the Chucky that we all know, is a little bastard, and I kind of I kind of like him like that, and got a potty mouth and just I mean,
yeah,
you don't have to have a potty mouth to be good, but I mean, it's just part of who he
yeah.
is. And
But this was a
okay,
decent
well, yeah,
interpretation, though. Like, not trying
yeah.
to be exactly the same and failing, or
It
not
was
being
funny
too
when he
completely
said those
different.
couple of things,
Like I
but
said, it kind of grows more into that by the end, and like I said, just that nature of Chucky and what they went with. It's like it kind of works, and even the humor itself overall is actually pretty decent. The characters have some pretty fun lines. Yeah, I mean, all in all, I think it's still very entertaining, and I think it's worthy of the name. So we can't really complain too much. And we still got the show going and everything, so it's all good. I mean, hell, we're getting a lot of Chucky still, so it's all good if you ask me.
I know. I'm looking forward to seeing that At least tomorrow.
Because it could have
Anyway.
been, I mean, the series could have been dead in the water a long time ago, which it's been, it's been close to a few times. Obviously, it's gone from theatrical to, the straight to video releases to a TV show. But seeing as,
Okay.
okay, well, video cut right there for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, anyway, just to wrap it up, it's like, yeah, all in all, it's pretty good stuff. And just it's cool to still see the franchise going, even with its ups and downs. And like I said, we'll see what happens with season
Mhm.
two. But again, it's still cool to see and decent film overall, not that bad. So give it a chance. Anyway, that'll do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.